Hello, hello! My name is Callista, and welcome back to Dragon Age Origins. In the last episode, we finished off the human noble origin story, and I said we'd be jumping into the Circle Mage origin next, so this is Evelyn Amell. I do like how she looks. I do, however, I have a slight sticking point, and that would be her nose. Because in the tool set, I spent a good 35 to 40 minutes giving her the most beautiful aquiline nose. And then I transferred her into the game, and unfortunately, it came out as this crook. I'm a little disappointed that the transfer wasn't perfect, but you know, what can you do? That's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Aside from that, I think she's stunning. In terms of her appearance, I really wanted her face to match her personality. So Evelyn is very innocent and naive. She is both metaphorically and literally wide-eyed about the world, and I really like that. I also quite like her chubby cheeks. If I could give her a different body type, like if there were body type selections for your wardens in Origins, I would absolutely give Evelyn a chubby body type. I didn't want all of my wardens to be, you know, very slender and lithe or, you know, athletic. I wanted some chubby girl representation in there. I also was kind of not necessarily inspired by Leandra and Carver and Bethany, but I wanted there to be some kind of, you know, visual connection between those, you know, these two groups, because Warden Amell is, you know, Leandra's cousin. She's second cousin with the Hawk children, and I like to imagine that the black hair, blue eye genes come from the Amell side. So yeah, I do like Evelyn's appearance overall. I am kind of proud of how she came out. Now then, as always, she has a backstory. There will be a timestamp popping up around here telling you when to skip ahead to if you aren't interested. Evelyn is also 18 at the beginning of the game, but for those of you who are interested, here is her backstory. Evelyn was born in Kirkwall, although she doesn't actually remember much about that time. She knows that she lived with her parents, that her mother was pregnant when Evelyn was taken away, and that she had 3 younger siblings. Evelyn also knows that her magic manifested when she was very young. She has a vague memory of her mother telling her that she was able to light candles with magical fire when she was only 2 years old. To be honest though, Evelyn isn't really sure if she believes this, although she can't actually remember a time when she couldn't do magic. Her first clear memory is of the day she was taken away by the Templars. Evelyn was 5, her parents had tried to hide her magic, but someone had finally found out. She remembers meeting the Templars in the foyer of her home. They smiled at her. One of them even held her hand as they took her away. But as they crossed the square, she heard crashing and shouting coming from her home. Evelyn turned and saw her mother run out, screaming at the Templars to bring her baby back. Her mother tried to run to her, but she tripped on the cobbles and slammed down onto the floor. Letting out a strangled cry that sounded more bestial than human, her mother began sobbing in the street. Evelyn was taken to Kinloch Hold, the Circle Tower in Ferelden. She immediately proved popular with her teachers, but not with her fellow students. They thought she was a teacher's pet, and a little bit weird. Although an older boy named Jowan did take her under his wing, Evelyn was pretty much ostracized by the rest of her classmates. When she was 7, an elven girl named Reda arrived at the Circle, and Evelyn was immediately smitten with her. She was a couple of years older, and while Reda was quite frosty, Evelyn was determined to be her friend. And the more she spoke to Reda, Evelyn realised that she didn't actually know what Kinloch Hold looked like. She had been asleep when she arrived at the Circle. She'd completely missed seeing it from across the lake. This realisation quickly became an obsession for Evelyn. She had to know what her home looked like from the outside. When Evelyn was 8, First Enchanter Irving took her on as his apprentice. Knight Commander Gregor objected to this. He said that Evelyn was far too young for such a responsibility. Irving argued that she was a very gifted child, and that her progress would be severely hampered if she continued being taught with the other children. Ultimately, Irving got his way, and Evelyn found herself even more isolated from her peers than ever. Evelyn trusted Irving. He had always looked out for her and treated her kindly, so it wasn't long before she told him of her desire to see Kinloch Hold from across the lake. And he promised her that she would. All she had to do was pass her next test, and Irving would take her to the bank on the other side of the lake, and Evelyn would be able to look upon her home. Of course, this first test spawned another test, and then another test, and so on for years. While Evelyn did become a little disheartened, she was sure that Irving would keep his promise eventually. Unfortunately, when Evelyn was 17, her quiet world was shook to its core. Her friend Reda used blood magic to escape the circle. Evelyn was devastated. She had noticed that Reda was acting a little secretive, but she hadn't thought much about it. She felt like this was entirely her fault. If she just focused more on her friend and less on her studies, then maybe this wouldn't have happened. Irving told her to put this from her mind, that she would be doing her harrowing within the year and that she should be focused on that. But Evelyn couldn't shake the feeling that she would lose everyone she cared about if she didn't do something. She vowed that she would be a better friend to Jowan. She might not be able to help Reda anymore, but she could still help him. Evelyn's current objective is to pass her harrowing. Irving has promised her that this is her final test before she can go outside, and she trusts him to keep his word. She also wants to keep an eye on Jowan. He's been behaving oddly recently, and Evelyn doesn't want a repeat of what happened with Reda. A couple of points with that backstory. If you're wondering, who's Reda? Who's this Reda person that, is involved so heavily in Evelyn's backstory? Maybe you should go and check out my A Tale of Orzammar Let's Play. That might provide you with some answers there. Also, I know that 2 is really young for someone to develop magic. However, Dragon Age 2 kind of complicates the timeline a little bit. We know that Warden Amell gets taken away before Lord Aristide dies, and that they develop magic a couple of years prior to that, which means that Warden Amell would have to be taken away when they were 5. It's kind of weird, but I'm working with the lore that I've been given. I'm just telling you that's the game. That's not me trying to make an overpowered Mary Sue character. Just letting you know. Okie doke. I'm thinking that's good. Coercion. I like coercion too much. I'm sorry. Okay, so Evelyn is a primal specialist. If she can't go outside, then she's going to bring the outside inside. So I'm going to go for Rock Armor and Winter's Grasp straight off the bat. We are playing on normal. There we go. Let's get this started.
On a cliff overlooking the dark waters of Lake Calenhad stands the tower fortress that is home to the Circle of Magi. This tower is the only place in Ferelden where mages may study their art among others of their kind. Within the high stone walls, the Circle practices its magic and trains apprentices in the proper use of their powers. But the Circle Tower is as much a prison as a refuge. The ever-vigilant Templars of the Chantry watch over all mages, constantly alert for any sign of corruption. This gilded cage is the only world you know. Found to be sensitive to magic at a young age, you were torn from your family and grafted here as an apprentice. Now, that apprenticeship is nearly over. All that remains is the final test, the Harrowing.
Magic exists to serve man, and never to rule over him. Thus spoke the prophet Andraste as she cast down the Tevinter Imperium, ruled by mages who had brought the world to the edge of ruin. Your magic is a gift, but it's also a curse. For demons of the Dream Realm, the Fade, are drawn to you and seek to use you as a gateway into this world.
This is why the Harrowing exists. The ritual sends you into the Fade, and there you will face a demon, armed with only your will.
I am ready. Is there any other option? What happens if I can't defeat the demon? Okay. Now I have to find Evelyn's voice. Damn. Evelyn doesn't really have a voice per se. She has a tone. She has a way of speaking. She speaks very, very quickly, and she kind of gets flustered sometimes, but she doesn't mean to make things awkward. She really just wants to help. That's Evelyn's voice. I find it kind of draining emotionally, but that's just how she talks. Okay, So she knows there are no other options. Well, there's becoming tranquil, that's an option, but I don't think she really wants to become tranquil. And if she cannot defeat the demon, then the Templars will strike her down. She knows this. I am ready.
Know this, apprentice. If you fail, we Templars will perform our duty. You will die. This is lyrium, the very essence of magic, and your gateway into the Fade.
The Harrowing is a secret out of necessity, child. Every mage must go through this trial by fire. As we succeeded, so shall you. Keep your wits about you, and remember the Fade is a realm of dreams. The spirits may rule it, but your own will is real.
The apprentice must go through this test alone, First Enchanter. You are ready.
And here we are in the Fade. Okay, let me just sort all of this out. You can live over here. And we have new codex entries. The Harrowing. Among apprentices of the Circle, nothing is regarded with more fear than the Harrowing. Little is known about this rite of passage, and that alone would be cause for dread. But it is well understood that only those apprentices who pass this trial are ever seen again. They return as full members of the Circle of Magi. Of those who fail, nothing is known. Perhaps they are sent away in disgrace. Perhaps they are killed on the spot. I heard one patently ridiculous rumour among the Circle at Ravane, which claimed that failed apprentices were transformed into pigs, fattened up and served at dinner to the senior enchanters. But I could find no evidence that the Ravani Circle ate any particular quantity of pork. From In Pursuit of Knowledge, The Travels of a Chantry Scholar by Brother Genitivi. And characters? Gregor and Irving. Your magic is a gift, but it's also a curse. The Circle of Magi has trained you, and we Templars of the Chantry stand vigil to ensure that training is adequate. First Enchanter Irving. If you want to survive, you must learn the rules and realize that sometimes sacrifices are necessary. Let me just ding these. There we go. Lovely. So, I mentioned at the end of the Human Noble origin, literally the very end, what if I have a complete cinnamon roll of a character who just wants to do good and all of that gubbins? That is Evelyn. Evelyn is my little cinnamon roll character. I love her so much. I will say that while she gets flustered in the real world, she's not the most socially competent. I don't mean that she's awkward. I mean that she sees the best in everyone. She's very easy to trick. She can't tell when someone's lying. And whilst that is true for her in the waking world, in the dream world, she is very confident. Just because she has been raised, from being very young, everything here is a lie. Everything here is out to trick you. You need to be on guard compared to, you should have faith in other people. They don't mean to hurt you. It's just an accident, clearly. I kind of like that, juxtaposition. Very competent while she's dreaming, but then you put her with an actual person, and it's kind of like, oh, Evelyn, when will you learn? Beyond the veil, spirits and demons. It is challenging enough for the casual observer to tell the difference between the Fade and the creatures that live within it, let alone between one type of spirit and another. In truth, there is little that distinguishes them, even for the most astute mages. Since spirits are not physical entities and are therefore not restricted to recognizable forms, or even having a form at all, one can never tell for certain what is alive and what is merely part of the scenery. It is therefore advisable for the inexperienced researcher to greet all objects he encounters. Typically, we misuse the term spirit to refer only to the benign or at least less malevolent creatures of the Fade, but in truth, all the denizens of the realm beyond the veil are spirits. As the Chant of Light notes, everything within the Fade is a mimicry of our world, a poor imitation, for the spirits do not remotely understand what they are copying. It is no surprise that much of the Fade appears like a manuscript, translated from Tevinter into Orlesian and back again by drunken initiates. In general, spirits are not complex, or rather they are not complex as we understand such things. Each one seizes upon a single facet of human experience. Rage, hunger, compassion, hope, etc. This one idea becomes their identity. We classify as demons those spirits who identify themselves with darker human emotions and ideas. The most common and weakest form of demon one encounters in the Fade is the Rage Demon. They are much like perpetually boiling kettles, for they exist only to vent hatred, but rarely have an object to hate. Somewhat above these are the Hunger Demons, who do little but eat or attempt to eat everything they encounter, including other demons. This is rarely successful. Then there are the Sloth Demons. These are the first intelligent creatures one typically finds in the Fade. They are dangerous only on those rare occasions that they can be induced to get up and do harm. Desire Demons are more clever, and far more powerful, using all forms of bribery to induce mortals into their realms. Wealth, love, vengeance, whatever lies closest to your heart. The most powerful demons yet encountered are the Pride Demons, perhaps because they, among all their kind, most resemble men. From Beyond the Veil, Spirits and Demons by Enchanter Murdramel. Very interesting. And again, let me tag these. There we go. Now then, before I forget, inventory stuff. And you. Also, I absolutely want to bring that onto my hotbar. Actually, do we have anything else in our inventory that could be of use? We do have the Vestments of the Seer. For the sake of fairness, I'll leave those off. Yeah, you know what? I won't put on any of the accessories at this time. Okay, 2 magic, 1 willpower. And I should probably go for combat training. Okie doke. Now, as interesting as the Fade is, I do think that Evelyn wants to get on. She really wants to pass her Harrowing. Now then, hello. There we go. Good stuff. Wisp. A great deal is made of the most powerful demons, those that create abominations and those that have changed the history of Thedas. It is often forgotten that not all demons are such awe-inspiring beings. Some that break through the cracks in the veil into our world are known as wisps, a sliver of a thought that once was. A wisp is a demon that has lost its power. Either it has existed in our world for too long without finding a true host, or it has been destroyed, often so we've found by other demons. What remains of its mind clings tightly to the one concept that created it, a hatred of all things living. While its ability to target a living creature is limited, these wisps often mindlessly attack when encountered in the Fade. In the living world, they often have been known to maliciously lure the living into dangerous areas, being mistaken for lanterns or other civilized light sources. This does, however, seem to be the very limit of their cunning. From the journal of former senior enchanter Malleus, once of the Circle of Ravane, declared apostate in 920 Dragon. Very interesting. I do have to wonder if the wisps are malicious, because Evelyn is expecting them to be malicious. In Inquisition, we learn that, much of the Fade is reflected off of the person experiencing it. If you expect a spirit to be a demon, then the spirit will conform, it will become a demon. Are these wisps hostile because Evelyn expects them to be hostile? It's an interesting question, but I don't think it's one we're going to get answers to anytime soon. Hello. There we go.
Someone else thrown to the wolves, as fresh and unprepared as ever. It isn't right that they do this, the Templars. Not to you, me, anyone.
Is this the Fade? You're a talking rat. No, it isn't right at all. I will succeed, right or not. So I should also mention, Evelyn isn't anti-Circle. She's not pro-Templar, but she isn't necessarily pro-Mage either. She occupies a middle ground. Because here's the thing, I would argue that Evelyn hasn't really experienced any injustice. Yes, there was a lack of privacy, but they're there to be watched. You can't really expect privacy when the Templars' one job is to watch the mages at all times. Also, Evelyn, she's very confident in her abilities. She knows that she is good at magic, and I don't think she means that in the way that Marnie means that she was a good archer. Marnie had a very inflated sense of self-worth. Marnie thought that she was the best archer who ever existed. Evelyn knows that she's a good mage. She also knows that there are better mages out there, more powerful mages, but she's very confident in her abilities. And she wouldn't be as good as she is without the Circle and its teachers. If her parents had succeeded in hiding her magic, she probably would have lured an abomination and, willingly formed a pact with it. Her family could have been, terrorized by walking skeletons and other such things, but who would be stupid enough to allow their child to do anything like that? So, Evelyn, she acknowledges that other people have had a worse time with the Templars. Evelyn has always been very friendly to the Templars just because she's a very friendly person. But, like her friend Redda, she had a horrible time in the Circle. She hated it. She was constantly getting into fights, and she hated being surrounded by humans. So, Evelyn doesn't have this idealized view of the Circle. She isn't like Wynne, all mages belong in the Circle and the Circle is the best thing ever. She acknowledges that, yes, there are abuses here, but the Circles are necessary. Without the Circles, I'd be dead. Mages are outnumbered 10 to 1 in the outside world. I would have either, become an abomination, I would have been killed by people who didn't understand. So I don't think she'd agree that this isn't right. I think Evelyn she doesn't necessarily disapprove of the Harrowing. So I think with that in mind, I will succeed, right or not.
Well, you say that now. So have many others before you. Look at me. Look at what can happen. It's always the same. But it's not your fault. You're in the same boat I was, aren't you? Allow me to welcome you to the Fade. You can call me, well, Mouse.
Not your real name, I take it. You took the Harrowing, you can change your shape. Ooh. If I'm being honest, I don't like any of these options because I don't think Evelyn would be talking to this guy. She doesn't trust him. As I said, you can't trust anything in the Fade. Nothing is what it seems. Nothing is what it appears to be. So she really doesn't want to... You know, conversing with this being, whatever it is, encourages it to stick around, and she doesn't necessarily want to do that. Out of all of these options, I think I like number 1 the best. Number 2 is playing into his story, and of course he can change his shape. This is the Fade. Evelyn knows that she could change her shape if she wanted to. Not your real name, I take it?
No. I don't remember anything from before. The Templars kill you if you take too long, you see. They figure you failed, and they don't want something getting out. That's what they did to me, I think. I have no body to reclaim, and you don't have much time before you end up the same.
On a personal level, I don't believe him when he says that. The Templars they kill you if you take too long. Because here's the thing. 1, this is the Fade. This is the Dream Realm. Time is kind of fuzzy here. What could be an hour for us could only be a minute in the real world. Secondly, I'm pretty sure the Templars will only kill a mage if they start to turn. It's not based on time. So, I think this is Mouse saying... Because obviously I know what Mouse is. I think he's just trying to play into the Warden's fears. I think that's it. I don't think he actually knows what he's talking about. What am I supposed to do? How long do I have exactly? That's not going to happen to me. I'm sorry for what happened. Again, we don't want to continue talking to this thing. We want it to leave us alone. We're confident. We're not going to get killed. That's not going to happen to me.
That has been said before, but you don't know the danger. There's something here, contained, just for an apprentice like you. You have to face the creature, a demon, and resist it. If you can. That's your way out. Or your opponent's, if the Templars wouldn't kill you. A test for you. A tease for the creatures of the Fade.
Anything can die. I doubt it's as simple as that. Why pit me against such a creature? I don't understand why this test is so feared. Anything can die. I doubt it's as simple as that.
You would be a fool to just attack everything you see. What you face is powerful, cunning. There are others here. Other spirits. They will tell you more. Maybe help. If you can believe anything you see. I'll follow, if that's all right. My chance was long ago, but you may have a way out.
Yeah, I don't think Evelyn...
The spirit is not far. Don't go near it unless you're ready to fight.
Yeah, I don't think Evelyn is too happy that Mouse has decided to, tag along. She would much rather that Mouse just leave her alone and stop trying to engage her in conversation. Oh, hell. Oh, there you are. And there you go. Oh, another twisted structure. The Black City. No traveller to the Fade can fail to spot the Black City. It is one of the few constants of that ever-changing place. No matter where one might be, the city is visible, always far off, for it seems that the only rule of geography in the Fade is that all points are equidistant from the Black City. The chant teaches that the Black City was once the seat of the Maker, from whence he ruled the Fade, left empty when men turned away from him. Dreamers do not go there, nor do spirits. Even the most powerful demons seem to avoid the place. It was golden and beautiful once, so the story goes, until a group of powerful magisters, lords from the Tevinter Imperium, devised a means of breaking in. When they did so, their presence defiled the city, turning it black, which was perhaps the least of their worries. From beyond the veil, spirits and demons by enchanter Mage. Yeah, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I believe the Black City to be Arlathan, and I think that's where the elven gods are. Solus said he couldn't destroy them, he could only lock them away. And a prison that remains equidistant from all points, no matter how hard you try to get to it, that sounds like a pretty good prison to me. Oh, you want some, do ya? And goodbye. A spirit of valor.
Another spirit this way. It never seemed equal to its name to me.
Here's the thing. This, at the very least, is presenting itself as such. This thing is taking the form of an innocent little mouse. Why are you disguising yourself? That's what Evelyn is thinking.
Another mortal thrown into the flames and left to burn, I see. Your mages have devised a cowardly test. Better you were pitted against each other to prove your mettle with skill, and to be sent unarmed against a demon.
Fight each other? We're not warriors. I agree, but I didn't have a choice. You know why I'm here. Yeah, Evelyn would die in a hand-to-hand combat. She knows that. She is not, I think, physically healthy enough to deal with actual combat. Fight each other? We're not warriors.
They would have you battle a demon. With magic or weapon, to be the victor makes you a warrior still. That you remain means you have not yet defeated your hunter. I wish you a glorious battle to come.
I need your help. What kind of spirit are you? What else do you know about the Harrowing? Did you create all these weapons? I should go. She's still very wary. I don't think she'd ask for this person's help outright, because again, this could be a demon. It might want something in return, and Evelyn is not willing to give anything. At least it's presenting itself in a somewhat honest way. So I think for that reason, she's slightly more willing to converse. What kind of spirit are you?
I am Valor, a warrior spirit. I hone my weapons in search of the perfect expression of combat.
Did you create all of these weapons?
They are brought into being by my will. I understand that in your world, mages are the only ones who can will things into being. Those mortals who cannot must lead such hollow, empty lives.
That number 2 is a very good point. Would one of these weapons affect the demon? Because she has nothing on her. Would one of those weapons affect the demon?
Without a doubt. In this realm, everything that exists is the expression of a thought. Do you think these blades be steel? The staves be wood? Do you believe they draw blood? A weapon is a single need for battle, and my will makes that need reality. Do you truly desire one of my weapons? I will give one to you, if you agree to duel me first. Valor shall test your mettle as it should be tested.
I agree to your duel, Valor. I am no warrior. I would be no match against you. And what are the rules of this duel? Willpower. It seems you would prefer to kill me yourself. No, I'm not interested. Oh, I thought that was a cunning test. I was gonna say, if you've got high enough cunning, then you can point out the fact that you're fighting an unarmed opponent who doesn't know anything about fighting. Are you really Valor? But no, it turns out it's willpower. I absolutely think that Evelyn would, try to press her will onto this being. It seems you would prefer to kill me yourself.
How dare you accuse me? I am no demon preying upon helpless mortals to steal their essence. I am a being of honor and valor. I am a warrior.
Then prove it. Help me fight the demon. So you challenge helpless mortals to duels? I am sorry, I didn't mean to provoke you. If this were the real world, Evelyn would absolutely say number 3, but again, she's confident in the Fade. She has a lot easier time saying no in the Fade because she's been trained to say no. So you challenge helpless mortals to duels?
You are insolent. But your will is unquestionably strong. Very well, mortal. You prove to me that you possess the strength to resist this demon. Go, prove your worth as you must. I am confident you will succeed.
Thank you, Valor. Valor's staff. Lovely. Oh, I think Evelyn feels a lot better having an actual weapon on her. Oh. You know what? I am actually just about out of time for this episode, so I think I'll end off here. In the next episode, we will continue exploring the Fade, trying to see if there's anything else that can help us fight this demon. But until then, please remember to like if you enjoyed, leave a comment below, and if you wanted to subscribe, it would be very much appreciated. I've been Kallista. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.